Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Funding is provided by a grant from Absolute Care of Westfield, committed to returning the favor to those who spent a lifetime caring for others. Absolute Care is located at 26 Cass Street in Westfield. Dave Cass and Rick Newell provide funding on behalf of the Lakeview Hotel and Restaurant at the Docks, located on Water Street near the lake in Mayville. From the Access Channel 5 television studio in Mayville, it's Senior Report with Reed Powers. Join us live Saturday mornings between 9 and 10 a.m. in Fredonia, Mayville, and Silver Creek. Call in and share a thought or wish someone a happy birthday with Chautauqua County's only live on-air senior program. Reed continues in his 15th year with interesting guests expressing their viewpoints and informing the community on a variety of subjects. Here's the host of the show, Reed Powers.
And good morning. What a beautiful day in Chautauqua County. And we're going to have a wonderful program about taxes. Oh my God. Speaking of taxes, there's a bill in the Congress right now, I'm sure you've all noticed, that is going to be compromised for sure. And the rich and powerful are going to get their tax break again, as they did under the Bush administration, as though they need it. And I've heard several of them on CNBC telling us they don't really want it. This is not fair. When they've got billions coming in, or millions, they shouldn't have to be, they shouldn't be worried about a few percentage in more taxes. It's only fair. But nope, Congress is going to make sure, since they're all rich and powerful themselves, that they get a little extra something of blood money out of our economy, which increases our national debt, of course, because we're going under fast at the rate things are going. And of course, they, in their wisdom, our Congress, loving Congress, especially the Republicans, are taking the blame for this one. I'm not a Republican, Democrat kind of guy. I think they're all a gang of thieves, but. At any rate, Brian Higgins, he on this bill, he sponsored a $250, which is peanuts out of a $12,000 Social Security, but it would help a little tiny bit about the inflation. Oh, the inflation that the Congress tells us they've got figures to prove there is no inflation. Who are they kidding? If you go on the supermarket lately, the cans get smaller. The containers get smaller, 14 ounces now instead of 16. 10.5-ounce soups instead of 16 or 14. They keep getting smaller, and the price keeps going up. My local supermarket, they're going up 20-30% on things. The TV dinner just jumped 30%. Ice cream just jumped 20%. Things like this, there is a huge inflation going on, but the phony figures say there's no inflation. How about your taxes? New York State has just, according to Kathy Young, our senator, has just jumped our New York State taxes 25%. How about the county? You heard it here first. I told you that there would be, I predicted there would be a large county increase. 9% in our county taxes increase. It's enough to knock you dead. Gas, oil, fuel, everything's going crazy in price. And seniors have no way to recoup this because they're not getting what they were always promised, a cost of living adjustment, the COLA. They're not getting it. They've been giving us something over the years. The last 8 years, according to the figures of anybody who does an honest appraisal, you've lost 50% of your dollar. What you used to pay a dollar for, you're getting you're going to have to pay $2 for now. 50 cents, now you pay $1. That's what's happened. And the Congress, our loving Congress, who cares about seniors, the elderly, gave us no COLA last year. And they've said, well, there's no inflation. We've got figures, we can prove it. Well, they're not going to give us any next year either. They say, well, there's no inflation coming up either. Who are they kidding? So they were going to give us a $250 paltry small amount, which is nothing, and they voted it down. The Republicans stopped it. And why? Well, they pointed out there's no money for this. What? Why don't we ask them what happened to the $8 trillion trust fund that should be there? What happened to the $8 trillion for the Social Security Trust Fund? Well, you trusted Congress with it. And you know what? It ain't there no more. There's nothing there. Just promissory notes. That's it. Bonds, which are no good. They could give $1 trillion to the bankers who stole it. They can give $1 trillion to the corporations who have stolen it. You see these giant bonuses they're giving themselves. Don't kid yourself what that is. That's a shifting of the money right out of the corporation and the bank. And, of course, they made the phony mortgages. Oh, they're making a lot of money on those. But now, of course, it's come down to crash on our economy. They could give them billions. They could give themselves a big increase. Yeah, they give themselves a nice pay increase. But they can't give the seniors $250. An 85-year-old who's starving on this. Hey, this is what you better stock up on, guys. This is cat food. That's what seniors ate during the Depression. And you'll be living in your children's wet basement because you lost your house. Thank you, Congress. Thank you, Congress. Again, Brian Higgins voted for this, and he was a sponsor of the bill. So we can accept him, our own congressman. Enough said. Makes me ill to see what these people are doing to the senior citizens of our country, the elderly. Well, they don't have to worry about their parents. They're all millionaires. Most of the people in Congress are, all the people in Congress are at least millionaires, many times over, most of them. They don't worry. But our parents and us and we, the hell with us. They'll screw us right and left, and they just did. What are you going to do about it? I don't know. Maybe it's time for the Ninja Senior. All right, I won't go into that too much. Local news, I got a few items here I wanted to mention. First of all, the Brockton Portland seniors have a nice bunch. They often meet in the Nickel Plate restaurant, which is a nice little place over there. And they have their dinners there. And I wanted to say President Tom DeJoe has a real nice bunch over there. So if you live in the Brockton, every village and town around here has a nice senior club, but there's a beauty over there, the Brockton, Portland. They often meet in the American Legion too, I might add. And I want to thank the Legions for helping out seniors. Not the selfish, they're not the selfish Congress, which is basically screwing seniors. And incidentally, they'll be around when election time comes to tell you how wonderful they've taken care of you and everything. Don't believe it. Go after them. Knock them out. Vote against them. Happy birthday, Mary Presto, over there. And I want to say Angela and Pat Zangi, 57 years of marriage. Can't beat it, huh? Can't beat it. New president over there is going to be Robin Carr. How about that? Dunkirk Seniors, I had a note here. Loretta Hemmink is the president over there, and if you want to get involved with them, they have the most gorgeous senior center, old school, that has a track around it in the hallways where you can, in the middle of winter, you can jog around it and get your exercise. They have all kinds of stuff. They have, for exercise, they have card games of every sort. They have entertainment. They have craft shows, everything. This is what your senior club can give you. Yeah, great bunch. Another note here. Thanksgiving, or Christmas dinner is, it's just passed. Holy mackerel, I missed that one. Silver Creek crowd, I got a little item here for Silver Creek. Let's see, the Mark Carmel, they have two of them in the Silver Creek, it's in the Mark Carmel Club. Tampio runs that. And they had, I just want to mention the fact that they are going to purchase a new microwave for the kitchen. You know, microwaves, when I bought my first one, cost $1,000. Yeah, this was back 30 some odd years ago. They were very expensive, but I paid it. And now you can get them for what? What do you get them for, Molly? $29.95 over Walmart or something like that? I got with this Molly Catalano. She's going to talk about financial matters, some tax planning, and what you might expect in the offing coming on. The real Silver Creek seniors, they have their own club room on Route 5, and I shouldn't say the real ones, but the other one. Ed Newman is the one who runs that one, and I just wanted to mention the fact that the refreshment committee coming up for December 14th. You want to get involved with it, go over September 14th, and you can meet Marv and Fran Smith. And I wanted to, oh, they're telling me I'm getting the signal. The news is over. I spent too much time ranting and raving about those niggardly Republicans who torpedoed the lousy $250 adjustment. Well, I got a public service announcement for you, and then we'll get back to the geezer. He's going to complain more because he shoots from the hip. Mort Flexer will be on in a minute. This is for you. I think it'll be for you. Anybody awake over there? There we go.
Turn over this log. Yeah. Whoa! I like the big black ones. I like the brown wiggly ones.
I like the green crunchy ones myself.
Whoa.
Get out and explore nature. There's surprises everywhere. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Anyone up for dessert?
There you go. Get out and explore nature. Don't pick the mushrooms. I take care of you. If you do, you know, I love to pick mushrooms, and there are so many wild mushrooms around here. They're just delicious, but you've got to know them. There's an old saying in the world of mycology, mushroom collecting: do not touch a mushroom unless you know it by name, first and last. If you get an Amanita phalloides, you are dead. One of them will kill you. So don't just pick mushrooms, but get to know them. All right, here he is, Mort Flexer, the geezer. You're on, Mort.
Good morning, Reed. You may think I'm on, but
I know you're a little off.
yeah, some of my batteries have died. But I know you're alive. Yeah, I just have to look to your right, and there's always a very attractive young lady sitting there.
I only bring on beautiful women. That's it.
Well, it's the only way to go.
With one exception, Andy Goodell. Ugly old man.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, get tougher and tougher to be an old man, Reed. The brain is fading away. I'm lucky these days to remember what month I'm in, and yet, funny, people ask me what day it is, and I have to disappoint them. I don't know. I'm lucky most times I know what town I'm in. It gets tougher and tougher as you get older, seriously. I started off horsing around, but now as I think about it more and more, life gets more and more difficult as you get older, and it's not the things most people think about. Most people think, well, you get older, you start running out of money, life becomes financially difficult. That's not it. I think the toughest part of getting older is the loss of friends. And particularly as we get closer to Christmas and New Year's, when we all start reminiscing, we realize that fewer and fewer of the old friends are there. I don't know what the heck's happening to me, Reed. Generally I'm in a happy mood, but I got myself on a sad course, and I think I better get off. Thank you, Reed.
Thank you, Mort. True Confessions of Mort Flexer. I know what's making you sad, Mort. The fact that the United States Congress just told the seniors we don't give a hoot about you in any way, especially the Republicans. That makes me sad and angry. We're going to take a little bit of time and peace and quiet. And I just want to remind you that if you give yourself a moment of meditation, prayer, what it might be, every day, spend maybe 15 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, maybe an hour, your blood pressure goes down sharply. You become much more responsive to what's going on around you because you more or less taken yourself out. And just give yourself a moment. Concentrate on something beautiful and pleasant instead of what's going on in the Congress. Give yourself a moment of peace and quiet. Isn't that a beautiful shot of the gazebo? Remember, you're number one in the universe, my friends. This is for you. sometimes it's just beautiful to get off someplace quiet and peaceful. And if you have a kitten, pet your kitty. You have a grandson, a grandchild, cuddle up. I got somebody here with me who doesn't think she's ever going to get on. She tells me she did check the program out. You can catch it anytime you want on YouTube, among other places, but you know it runs all over the county several times a day in some areas. On Saturday, you can get it 3 times in Westfield. And you will find out what some of the best ways to prepare cat food, because that's what seniors will be eating very shortly. I'm doing a cat food recipe for seniors because that's what you're going to be eating when you're when Congress gets through wringing you dry and not giving you your true cola, and any cola for that matter. They're too busy giving the money to the rich and powerful because they're part of the gang. Enough said. I can't get off that one, Molly. Molly, good morning. Say hi.
Good morning.
Molly Catalano has a tax service in Westfield. She's right next to the Republican, and it's called the Silk Purse Income Tax Service. She's been preparing taxes for, what did you say, 80 years or something?
Something like that.
For quite a while.
20 years I've been doing income taxes.
And quite knowledgeable, and she's here to answer questions. Anybody who wants to call in, and if you have a tax problem, the number is 753-5225, it's up there, or just 753-JACK if you can't remember all those numbers. And she will immediately solve your tax problem for you and tell you exactly what to do. As though, and incidentally, if you believe that, I've got a bridge I want to sell you.
Yes, I hope so.
But she will be helpful and be happy to answer your questions if you have general questions. Everybody who calls in, I'm going to send you, if you will send me a stamped envelope, some of these beautiful little $5 bills to the Lakeview. You can. It's a $5 gift certificate to that beautiful place at the foot of the hill in Mayville. They have 2 restaurants, actually. They have a fish restaurant, sort of, but it serves everything there, too. And then they have one that specializes pretty much in chops and steaks and wonderful stuff. And they have a salad bar that'll kill. I love salad bars. They've got everything I ever dreamed of in a salad bar in both restaurants. And a fish fry that never dies. Okay. So, Molly, let me ask you a couple of things here. Don't throw those away, the $5 bills. No. Give them to friends, or use them. Seniors, of course. Now, if you, well, first of all, where did you come from? Where were you born?
Westfield, born and raised.
Born and raised, and who are your parents? The Catalanos?
That's, excuse me, my husband's.
Your husband's parents. It was a mayor, right, at one point?
That would be my brother-in-law.
Your brother-in-law?
And McGuinn's. I was a McGuinn.
A McGuinn? Mm-hmm. Oh, you're Mac's daughter.
Granddaughter.
Granddaughter.
Yes.
Excuse me, right. Yeah, Mac used to tell me that he'd go over to the little soda fountain, which is where the barber shop is on the corner of Portage and Main, when my Aunt Julia had it. My great-grandfather, Lawrence Powers, had that whole corner. He had a big clothing shop. When he passed away, the relatives got it, and Julia and Nellie took over. One of them continued the clothes shop, Nellie Poole, and Julia Poole opened a soda fountain. And then a little later along comes the Depression. And Pike Monroe was reputedly running fishing trips to Canada at night and bringing back, let's say, unholy water, or as we say in Ishkabacha in Gaelic, which means holy water. And she would get some of it. He distributed it up there. And so when you walked in, if you wanted a special, you just say, I want a special, Julia, and she'd get just what you wanted. Mac McGuinn was quite a character.
Yes.
I still remember when he took his brand new Cadillac and ran it off the cliff over at the church and demolished it. The Methodist church has a great big high curb there.
Yeah.
He's a great bridge player, though. That's how I knew him. I played bridge with him. Okay, anyway, enough of the past. Enough of the past. You now have a service, and you're here to tell us a little bit about the new things we're expecting.
New things?
Yeah, let's talk about this a little bit.
Going with the income taxes.
Now, this is state or federal. You got to tell us which it is.
Well, federal stuff first. Well, first of all, I am an enrolled agent, and
I know you. That's what EA means after your name.
Yes.
What do you do to become an enrolled agent?
You have to prove to the IRS that you are proficient in tax matters.
They give you a test or something?
They do.
Oh, really?
3 of them, actually.
Three tests?
3 3-hour tests. 1 for personals, 1 for business returns, and 1 for procedures and ethics.
Oh, really? And you can't do it without this?
You can.
You could, but you're not. You hadn't got the rubber stamp of approval.
The other way is if you don't want to. If the other way to get around, become an enrolled agent without taking the test is to have worked for the IRS.
Okay.
In the certain jobs.
Okay, tell me, what's the difference between a CPA, now my tax guy is a CPA, and an enrolled agent?
An enrolled agent is registered by the IRS itself. The CPAs are licensed by each state. The CPAs do a lot more than just taxes. They do a lot of bookkeeping and auditing and much other stuff. I, being an enrolled agent, am focused mostly on the income taxes. I can do some bookkeeping and other stuff too, but CPAs, you know, the CPA test is harder, I believe, and more comprehensive than the enrolled agent test.
Okay, so the average person that will be doing their taxes, though, is an enrolled agent, probably not a CPA.
You don't have to be an enrolled agent in order to be an income tax preparer.
Well, anybody can do it. You
As a
open
matter
a shop, I do taxes, that's right.
You could, but now this is new regulations, and they're just starting. The IRS is starting new regulations for any tax preparers, and you have to be registered with the IRS if you prepare income taxes for other people for compensation.
So everybody's got to be an EA, right?
Not an enrolled agent, but a registered tax preparer.
Oh, okay.
It's, you know, a little bit different.
We've got a couple of phone calls. I'm enjoying our conversation. You want to listen? You want to talk to somebody?
Sure.
Okay. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, Reed. How are you?
I'm fine. What's up, miss?
My question is, how do you determine whether you have to file taxes or not?
Yeah. Okay.
Income limitations and what sort of income it is.
Is there a law that says you have to file a tax?
There are.
Often people argue that. They say there's no law that says I have to file a tax.
Yes.
There is.
Yes.
Okay. So
you cannot just say that I don't feel like paying my taxes and not pay them.
Well, I'm not saying pay them, but
or file them.
You got to file them, even if you owe money or not, right?
That depends. If you have a certain amount of income, then you must file whether you owe or not. You know, if you sell $30,000 worth of stocks, but you have basis in them, you paid $30,000 for them, there's no gain or loss.
So you haven't made any money.
You say you haven't made any money, but the IRS doesn't know what you paid for them. They're only going to find out that you sold $30,000 worth of stock, and they're going to want their income tax on that. They are. So you file your return and you tell them, yes, I sold this much stock, but I paid this much for it. I don't owe you anything.
Didn't make any money.
Yes.
You might even lost some money. Are they happy if you've lost money and you don't file? Because then you get money back, theoretically.
The capital gains you don't get money back for, but you can...
Oh, you can save it for the next year,
You can reduce your income with up to $3,000, and beyond that it gets carried forward. The losses do.
Okay, now, so you must file. What do they do if you don't file? Well, they pick your pocket. They used to put you in jail. But the 99% of the people, they only pick one or two guys. Who did they just pick? I just saw him went to jail yesterday or the day before. Who was that guy? He's a big gun anyway, very well known. Oh, Snipes, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if your income is below a certain threshold, then no, you don't have to file. But your income has to be below a certain threshold.
You have a general idea what the threshold is? I mean, if you make over, say, 10,000 or 20,000, what would it be, roughly? 100,000?
I knew you'd be throwing numbers at me. You know, the software pulls the numbers up. It's the amount that your exemption and your standard deduction would add up to.
Okay.
So if your income is more than those, then your taxable income is zero.
Okay.
Then you're below the threshold and don't have to file.
Oh, that's good to know anyway. Just I'll say, yeah, I didn't make any money. If you're self-employed, of course, then there's you have another little bite there, the Social Security, right?
Yes. If you're self-employed, you have to pay not only income taxes, but the Social Security and Medicare, and you have to pay both the employers and the employees' portion.
So in other words, instead of paying 8%, what is it now, 8 something? Or
7 and something.
Then there's a Medicare thing in there too. So you're going to pay 16%, which is a whopping amount, right? You better keep track of your expenses, huh?
Yes. Absolutely.
Do a little dreaming, maybe. I'm sure everybody does. Now, state taxes. Well, tell us about federal. Now we're still on federal. What can we expect? What's new in the federal business? If they even pass the exemption, continuing exemption, I mean, they're fighting it out in the Congress, but I think that's just a dance for the public, you know?
Yeah, the thing is that there's a lot of those tax benefits that are set to expire.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Unless they go through, that's what they're arguing about right now. And the $250 deduction for educator expenses, they're adding the, you know, that you could add the real estate taxes.
If you're paying for a kid in college, you can do that then.
Well, actually, no. The teachers who K through 12 teachers could deduct $250 off the front of their return if they had spent at least that much for classroom supplies.
Or education, maybe. You know, teachers have to go to school forever and ever.
They do. So do I.
Oh, really? So do I, incidentally. We got a couple of calls still. You want to take a call?
Sure.
Hey, good morning, caller. We'll take your call, and thank you for waiting for us.
Thank you. To whom am I speaking? The expert on tax.
Molly Catalano.
Okay, ma'am. Well, anytime I leave New York State going south, gasoline prices are anywhere from 10 cents to 25 cents cheaper per gallon than they are in New York State. Now, what is that a big disparity between the taxing in our state and the taxing in, say, Ohio or somewhere else?
I really don't have any control over the gasoline prices.
I don't I'm not asking you for control. I'm asking you,
I don't.
Is our tax rate that much more that we pay so much more for a gallon of gasoline?
Gasoline taxes have nothing to do with income taxes. I do income taxes.
But I'll answer that for you.
But Reed can answer.
Absolutely. We're being screwed in New York State. We have the highest taxes in the United States of America, including the gas tax, which is the last we looked at was over $1 a gallon, and it's going up every single day. There you go. How's that?
Well, that's very discouraging.
Yeah.
that it's so much more.
Yes.
I couldn't afford to go miles and miles to get cheaper gas, but when I travel to see my children sometime in another state, it's much cheaper.
Well, there's another thing you've got to be careful of. When you sign your income tax, your state tax, you swear that if you paid all New York State taxes that are due, wherever you are, on your trip down, if you buy something, you're supposed to pay the New York State tax on that item. And the gasoline, of course, is cheaper because the state tax is cheaper. So you must find out what the local tax is on your gasoline. Then you've got to deduct what it would be if you paid New York State taxes. And then the difference you have to pay the state. And you will swear to this when you sign your income tax form. Is that correct, Molly?
I don't think they expect you to do all that.
She doesn't expect you to do that, but New York State does. That's the law. If you buy a hat in Florida, and there is no state sales tax in Florida, you must report that to the state of New York and pay the sales tax, New York tax on it. Did you know that? That's your New York State tax law. Yeah, and you will sign your tax, and one of the items on your tax that you sign in New York State statements is that you have paid all taxes on New York State taxes on everything you bought, wherever it might be.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. It's to me, it's aggravation.
Yes, well, seniors who travel.
Well, thank you very much.
Seniors who travel all over the world, my friend, buy things all over the place, and how could they possibly keep track of the difference between the local tax and New York State tax on everything they buy, and then pay the difference to New York State and report it? Of course, that's absurd. But that is a state law, believe it or not. Is that correct, Molly?
Sort of.
That is a state law.
If you buy stuff out of state and it gets used out of state, then it doesn't apply.
If you eat it.
It's the stuff that comes back into New York State.
Right. If you eat it, let's say a hat, you're not going to throw it away when you cross the border.
Right.
But if you buy a dinner, that doesn't apply.
That doesn't apply.
Because you've eaten it.
Mm-hmm.
Molly Catalano, telling us a little bit about tax. All right, what else is happening on the federal level? First of all, we don't even know today. We're sitting here just grasping at smoke because there's a new bill in the Congress that they haven't even finished, which will apply to our federal income tax, right?
Yeah. and there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of those credits that are going to go away unless they extend them, and they're hashing that out, and it makes it very difficult for people to do tax planning, for the people who write the tax software. It's
madness. And speaking of tax to software, there's a new game in town. Of course, that's the online tax programs you have. You can just pump in your stuff, and they turn the crank and spit it out, give you a form all filled out, and that's it. You don't have to go to a tax preparer anymore. Does that affect the tax business a little?
It does. It does. There are people that do that, but even those online places, you have to have some idea of what you're doing and know what you're inputting to get stuff in correctly and get the right return.
You do what you can, though. Well, Wesley Snipes, who's just going to jail for avoiding taxes or something, evading taxes, I think they sent him away for 3 years or something. And he claims, I didn't know anything about this. I've got my tax people do this. And so the guy goofed. What am I supposed to say? So did Rangel. our extinguished Congressman Charles Rangel from New York, who was just reelected, even though he is in violation of the congressional rules and everything. They censured him. They said they wrote a little letter and put it in his file. He says millions he stole, whatever, and misappropriations and lies and stuff. But who knows what really went on? Meantime, they did really get him. They put a little note in his file saying, Mr. Rangel has done something, we're not sure what. Nobody's quite sure what the rules are on this one. He had a house down in some foreign country. He didn't pay some taxes on, but he paid the local taxes and everything, and is all confused. Well, they do whatever they want.
They do.
Molly, so you started to say, at this point, we don't really know diddly. We just can't tell, but it looks like, give us an idea of what it looks like. What do you think? You predict that they will extend the tax cuts?
I think so.
You think so?
I think so.
Even though they're going through this kind of song and dance, we don't want to give it to the rich and powerful because they don't need it, but they will anyway. Mark my words. You heard it first on Senior Report. The rich and powerful will get the same tax cut.
Yeah, well, if that is what's necessary to keep it going for everybody else, then it probably will happen.
It will happen.
I don't know, but
I think it will happen.
I think so.
Because it's unthinkable.
Something will happen.
Unthinkable.
We will get something.
And connected with that, of course, is the unemployment insurance. We have millions and tens of millions of Americans who are suffering without a job, trying to find a job, who are starving, excepting for that little pittance they get from unemployment. That's keeping them alive. And it looks as though that's going to, I know that has to go through. So the tax bill will have to go through because it's connected to that. We're talking now on the 11th day of December of 1910, 2010. How old I'm getting, you know? I was born 1939. 2010, and our predictions will come true. I predict this will pass lock, stock, and barrel. The rich will get lots of money, and the powerful will live on to rejoice and buy a new Rolls Royce, while you and I are starving to death trying, and seniors. You know, 85-year-old people are going to have to go down and try to beg for a job, seniors, aged people, and climb up ladders and stock cans at the supermarket or whatever they get, they're lucky enough to get. And that's unthinkable. Thank you, Congress, for not giving us the cola, the true cola. Now, Molly,
yes.
If someone lived out of state, there's a complication now between their state and New York State taxes, because if they earn the money in the state,
then
you got to pay. Now, like, this caused a big hassle because, say, football players who came in and played a game here in New York State, and they make a couple million a game sometimes. Suddenly, the state says, "Oh, you earned that money in New York State. You got to pay state taxes on it."
Yes.
That sounds crazy, doesn't it?
Well, no, because whatever state is their home state, their resident state, they will get a credit in that state for the taxes they pay to the other states.
Which are much higher, I might add, in New York State. It doesn't help them much. We have a couple of calls. I'll take a call.
Sure.
I get depressed when I think about taxes. And I pay some too, but not as much as somebody else I know. You're on, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. What's up?
I have a question for your, enjoy today. And tomorrow it looks like it's going to be mostly a rain event, except for early in the morning there might be some sleet.
Well, thank you for the weather report, madam.
And that's quite all right. Get your it's 2 weeks to Christmas. Get your Christmas shopping done.
Okay, I've already done mine. I go down to the Walmart and I pick up a bunch of $100 gift certificates. Just pass them out and say, buy whatever crazy stuff you need. I'm not gonna buy some dumb thing you don't want.
Well, that sounds like a good idea. Do you give to your sister?
I don't have a sister, unfortunately.
Oh, well, how about a brother?
So,
Okay.
do you have a question, or are you here to harass me?
No, I do have a question for your guest.
Okay.
Does she foresee? We keep hearing about cutting back, and today apparently there's a big layoff of state employees, et cetera, in New York State.
And Cliff Star in Dunkirk just announced a huge layoff.
Well, this is of state employees.
I heard.
The one from the governor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And anyways, now I've lost my train of thought here.
Well, you must be getting old.
I am.
Okay.
How are...
Why don't you call back?
I want to know if she foresees the taxes going up, staying the same, or what. If the state's going to stop funding, does that mean that locally, like on schools and stuff, we're going to have to pick up the slack? Or
sure. That's what just happened. We have a 9% hike. 9% hike in our county taxes, and part of that's a good part of it's due to the fact that New York State simply stopped paying for certain services we need. They said, well, we'll cut back, save the taxpayers. Oh, wait a minute, they're not saving us anything. Now we have to pay for it on the county level. That's why one of the reasons your taxes are going ape.
Well,
go ahead.
I really don't know what the tax rates are going to be doing.
You want to predict?
Come
on, be a prophet. It's easy enough, Molly. Taxes
They
only
will go up.
They're like the Mississippi River. Your purse is like the Mississippi River. It only flows south. You'll have less money every year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I hear talk that, especially for us seniors, that it's one of these things we throw out the little bit of a little tidbit to keep them quiet.
Right. That little $250 that they just voted down.
Oh, they voted it down. Okay.
Yeah, because they didn't have the money. There's an $8 trillion trust fund. Why didn't you tap that a little bit for $119 billion? Nothing.
But we're going to have the money somehow to come up with this new thing that we're going to pass, unless a few Democrats have enough guts to stick to their guns.
Yeah.
We can't. No money for unemployment, no money for the old people, no money for this, but somehow we have enough money to give the top 2% a tax break.
Yeah, the multimillionaires, and also the bankers got $1 trillion after stealing the money.
Well, I know some of the millionaires say, don't give me the money, I don't want it.
That's correct,
and
I've heard that.
To me, I'm keeping those people, Mr. Buffett's one of them, and I can't remember, there's another one. I'm keeping those people in mind because they sound to me like honest men, which there are very few left.
And none in the Congress, evidently. Let me say this.
The thing is, what I can't understand is, I thought there was a law that Congress couldn't give themselves a raise. By doing this, almost all of the Senate, their average income is $2.4 million. That's the average. So a heck of a lot of them are millionaires.
They're all millionaires.
Do you suppose they have anything to gain from this giving the top 2% a huge tax break as opposed to what little trickles down?
Right. It's nothing that they were going to give the seniors. Nothing. Because we're taking hits all over the place. Okay, now I did want to point one thing out. The great insurance company, evidently, the AARP, I don't think it defends the seniors because I watched the president of the AARP on CNBC, which is the financial program, for 15 minutes, and she never was. Incidentally, the reason she was there was to announce the hunger. They're going to fight hunger in America. A large number of the hungry, of which are senior citizens, I might add. And she
They won't ask for anything.
she was asked, well, why is this hunger in the seniors? Well, she couldn't think of a reason, and she said, we're actually studying that. Maybe she could have said because Congress has not been giving them a COLA on their Social Security. You think one peep came out of her for that? I've been looking for it on TV. You know what I see AARP on TV? Ads for life insurance, for health insurance, for house insurance. It's just a big insurance company, I think. It looks like it anyway. Thank you, caller.
Well, thank you very much, and have a great day.
Yeah.
And
Merry Christmas to you. Buzz off.
Same to you.
What do you think? Isn't that nuts?
Yes.
Nutsy? Mm-hmm. The AARP is supposed to protect seniors. Yeah. Well, there was a few years ago, when I was a little bit younger, there was a bill which was passed by the Congress to take care of devastating, catastrophic was the term, health care needs for seniors. Mm-hmm. That was before they had the full Medicare. And guess who got them to reverse themselves on that? AARP. Mm-hmm. It might have affected their insurance, apparently. I assume that's why they did it. They killed that bill. Mm-hmm. They killed it. Molly Catalano, sitting here and listening to Senior Report ranting and raving about taxes and the unfeeling, uncaring Congress about our senior citizens. Okay, Molly, if somebody had a tax problem, we'll put it that way, can you help them?
Yes.
Tax problem meaning they haven't filed for years?
Certainly.
So what do you do if somebody hasn't filed for, say, 5, 10 years or something? They just didn't file. They got the money and the hell with it. And eventually, IRS is just like the grindstone of the gods. It grinds very slowly but very fine. Eventually, they'll catch it.
Eventually, if there was income that was reported to the IRS mm-hmm. and was never filed on a tax return, the IRS will come and ask about it. And if you do not file a return, then there is no statute of limitations. The IRS can come back at you years and years later saying you never filed your 1976 return. We want our money, plus penalties and interest.
I'd say it got lost in the mail.
yeah, that would be a good argument. But no, if somebody has not filed in a long time, we can go back and file. If you get a notice from the IRS, I am authorized, an enrolled agent is authorized to correspond with the IRS on behalf of a taxpayer. I can do that. So we can take care of people who have problems.
Do they march them off to jail, generally, for not filing? Or what do they? They just take all your money, right?
They can put a lien on your house or assets, bank accounts, stuff like that.
I think they're the only entity that can actually take your house. You know, if somebody sues you, they can't take your house. They can lien it. IRS, I think they can actually take it, can't they?
I've never come across that situation. I'm really
I wonder how Wesley Snipes' house is doing. That's not funny, but I do sympathize with the poor guy. Which reminds me now, say Molly, your tax preparer screws up. Mm-hmm. You screw up. You forget something and whatever, and the IRS is after you all over the place, says you owe us some fines for not paying it, and other fines for being there, and then further fines for me being somebody from Westfield, and we're going to fine the living you-know-what out of you. Do you pay the fine?
Penalties? Me?
Yeah.
No.
You're the one who screwed up.
Oh, well, if I was the preparer...
Yeah. Not you personally, but the preparer.
The preparer should be responsible for penalties.
I see.
But any taxes should be the responsibility of the
actual taxes, but the fines and penalties, you should be able to talk your accountant or whoever it is who did your taxes into covering those for you. They'll work it out with IRS. You can believe it, probably.
You should be able to. Yes.
They tell me if you don't pay your taxes for years and years and you owe a huge amount, you can negotiate with IRS. They'll say, all right, well, forget it. Just pay, say, 10 cents on a dollar or whatever it might be, and we'll be happy, right? Not that low, but...
Well, you can try. There are, I'm sure you've seen ads on the television for the companies that, say, we had $20,000 worth of taxes due and we ended up settling for $3,000. That happens rarely for that big a difference, rarely.
So these are phony baloney ads probably anyway,
it might
for the most part. It's like the cancer award ads or the cancer care ads. You got somebody on there survived. How about the other 99 and 4,400%? You know, the other people are going to still pay that tax, right?
Yeah, well, that big a difference, you know, like I said, rarely. But you can set up with the IRS installment agreements. You can do an offer and compromise, and you can talking to them is much better than just pretending they're not there and wishing they would go away, because they won't go away.
They do not go away. They're
No.
like the boogeyman. They're always in your closet, and they'll be coming out for you one of these days. Now, the state is the same way, though, right? You've got two entities to worry about. You don't pay your Fed taxes. You probably haven't paid your state.
Correct.
And they'll both come after you and cuff
They
you up
will.
and take you away, right?
And they will eventually, I believe they talk to each other.
Uh-huh.
So
So they compare notes. Say, hey, this weasel hasn't paid. Did he pay you, right?
I believe maybe to some extent they talk to each other.
You do. Okay, let's take another phone call, Molly.
Sure.
Okay. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Well, good morning, Molly. Good morning, Reed. How are you? This is Linda Spalding.
Oh, well, Linda she lives with the dearest old man over in Chautauqua.
Yeah.
He's the sweetest guy. He can get in almost free, you know. I just heard him.
He's not quite old enough to get in free.
When you're 90, you get in free. And he's kind of creeping up on that one pretty fast, I'll tell you.
Well, aren't we all?
Aren't we all? So is he there with his penny whistle?
He has been playing it this morning, but he's not playing it now.
Oh, okay. He is a master, a concert master with a penny whistle. The Irish penny. What is it? It's not the penny whistle. What is it? Is it the penny whistle?
Penny whistle.
Okay, and it's an Irish thing, and he's wonderful. And he's got a dog there that talks or plays the piano. Is the dog playing the piano yet?
No, the one that played the piano is he's in dog heaven.
He's crossed the Great Rainbow Bridge, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's too bad because I remember his concerts. You played on the air for us a couple of times.
Yeah, he did play the piano.
Yes, he did. And he wasn't quite a Beethoven, but he was pretty darn good, I must confess. So anyway, what's new with you, Linda Spalding from Chautauqua?
Well, I'm calling to talk about senior services with the Office for the Aging. Also, our computer training that we have for seniors in the community that's free. We are offering out in Westfield, the Patterson Library.
Tell that old man to turn the TV down. We're hearing you, but we'll hear you later.
Oh, are you hearing an echo?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not here. I have to turn it down.
Tell the dog to turn.
Okay, is that better?
I still hear it, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. So at any rate...
Let me turn the volume down on the phone.
Okay, I just wanted to ask you about...
I've got everything down, Reed. Pretty soon I'm going to have to just lip read on the television because...
Let me ask you something. You have a program, you know, they just turned down that paltry peanut bone they were throwing to the seniors because they don't have the money. $8 trillion trust fund, and they can give the banks trillions, but they can't give the seniors a few pennies. So now seniors are going to have to find jobs. Do you have a job for seniors? You had some connection there, didn't you?
We have the Senior Aid Program with the Office for the Aging. It's with federal and state grants, 20 hours a week. They pay minimum wage. They're transitional jobs to higher paying jobs at not-for-profit places.
You take seniors who are, like me, approaching 80, who have trouble walking and who cannot remember diddly. Will they take me?
Well, I wouldn't say that's true about you, Reed.
Well, I can't remember half the time. You know, my memory's getting worse and worse and worse. I can still remember your husband's name's Harry, but a lot of things I cannot remember.
I know you said that deliberately, and I'm not going to bite on it.
Actually, his name is Doug, and he wheels around on a little scooter and cackles all over Chautauqua.
It doesn't matter how old people are if they're at least 55 years old and they meet the income eligibility guidelines. And if they don't meet the income guidelines, we refer them on to other places where there are jobs because we have contacts with Chautauqua Works and the New York State Employment Service and other job search entities. So it doesn't matter if you're 80 or 90. There's a lot of people that are functioning and holding very responsible jobs. And look at our Supreme Court and look at our Congress. Many, right.
Congress
Many of them are all
just turned
senior
down that
citizens.
lousy $250 for the seniors.
Do you know who co-sponsored that bill?
I know.
To get the seniors, it was Brian Higgins.
Higgins. I mentioned that before. Brian Higgins, God bless him, he's one of the people over there that did, but the Republicans are taking the blame for this one. Headlines in all the papers.
Democrats.
Oh, sure,
parties.
sure. Well, they're all the same gang of thieves,
Yeah.
Linda. They're all rich, first of all. There's not, you show me anybody that has under $1 million in the Congress, and I'll eat my hat publicly right in front of you.
Yeah, well, if they want these other breaks for other economic groups, the seniors should get something too.
You would
and
think
so
that
should veterans.
$250 is peanuts. You've
Yes.
seen the costs going up around you. And they laugh up their sleeves. They keep telling us, we have figures, special figures we worked out that show there is no inflation. Can you believe that, Linda?
No, it's hard to believe. But go to the grocery store, you'll find out.
Yeah, you'll find out 20%, 30% hikes overnight. As I pointed out, TV dinners that I was buying, those banquet dinners, they went from $1 to $1.39 overnight.
Yeah. Well, times are tough, but, we just have to keep contacting our representatives and let people know so that we'll be heard, because there's other groups that are advocating the opposite, and our voice has to be just as loud as theirs. That's the way we can bring about change and fairness according to what our beliefs are. So we've got to do that.
Do you really think that's going to happen now? With these people in the United States Congress, all rich and powerful, that don't seem to give a hoot about the elderly, can't give them the tiny peanuts, $250 a year. That doesn't even pay the difference in gas, for God's sake.
But it's the seniors who vote.
Well, I hope they vote every one of the SOBs out who voted for this.
Yeah, well, you can find out how everybody voted. You can find out.
How do you do that?
Watch how the representatives vote.
Where do you go for that?
Well, you can go on the internet for
really?
that.
Uh-huh.
A lot of times it's printed in the paper. It might be in the paper how they
it's
voted.
spilled all over the papers. I just picked an article out on this one, and they say it was the Republicans that stalled it. Now, I'm a Republican myself, and I'm ashamed.
Well, they had in the paper there were both parties voted. There were members on both parties that voted against it.
Okay. Well, that doesn't change things. They're all the same gang, I think. The same gang. And they're doing a song and dance. Eventually they'll pass the tax, which will include a nice big fat break for the super rich, Linda.
Well, the interesting thing is, anybody who studied sociology, the demographics, if you want money to go into your economy, if you want to stimulate it, the less people have economically, the more they spend. Give that group of people money, they will not save it.
They have to use it.
They spend it.
Yeah, the rich and powerful couldn't care less, right?
Right. If they want to inject activity into the economy, the lower socioeconomic group, the people with less money, are the ones that need to get it because they're the ones that will spend it.
What do you think of that, Molly? I got Molly Catalano here, is tax expert. She's do you think that's effective? The less you have, the more you spend?
That's what I've heard.
Of your income.
That's what I've studied.
Not the more money in general,
Yeah.
but the more you would spend. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
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 The lower income people are the ones that need, more stuff. They're going to have to spend just to
eat?
Just to eat.
Cat food.
Cat food.
Cat food.
There you go.
That's what seniors will be eating shortly, Linda. And
they don't have as much to spend.
That's correct.
But they will spend it faster.
Mm-hmm. Sure. That's the poor and the seniors.
Yeah, that's presented in a lot of statistics and demographics.
Well, the Tea Party carries around a tea bag in their pocket. I think seniors should carry around a little can of cat food.
Yeah, well, we've talked about this before, Reed, and I will not eat your seafood
my hors d'oeuvres anymore. When she comes to our house and
have a great week.
She won't eat our hors d'oeuvres.
Let me give the phone number for the office for the aging.
Please do it. This is just give us one number because it confuses.
753-4471.
Okay, if you want to know about the office, and there are jobs realistically. For seniors,
yes, we have jobs.
And there's
People
also
are getting jobs.
There's also HEAP, a little help on your oil bill and your gas bill, whatever, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, thank you, Linda. It's a
Thank
wonderful time.
you.
And say hi to that old guy that you live with there. He is the sweetest old fellow. You tell him that.
He's a young man, and my dog just said hello. Thanks.
He makes
Bye-bye.
you say that.
Okay.
With all apologies to several of our critics who say that old lady that keeps calling in about jobs for seniors, she wastes too much of your time. I think she's kind of fun, and actually there are jobs out there. Molly, you're on. Go ahead. You want to talk?
Okay, there are a couple of things that seniors might. The credits, New York State income tax credits that are easy to miss. One is the claim for real property tax credit, IT-214, and you do not, if you're low income, but you own a house and pay real estate taxes, or you are renting a house, but the household income has to be less than $18,000. Now, down there, you might not even have to file a return, but you can still file this IT-214 and get money back from New York State.
How much money would you get back, say?
It's not a great deal, but $50,
$100, $200, what is it?
Couple $100 perhaps for somebody in town that has,
Okay, one last thought. The STAR program. You've got to get, seniors have to get theirs in a certain time, or they don't get it every single year, right?
Every single year the seniors have to reapply, and you do that at your local assessor's office.
And you will receive, in many cases, you won't pay any school tax. It really wipes out a lot of it.
It is definitely worth doing.
Right.
And the other New York State credit that I wanted to mention is if you or somebody in your family, your spouse or a dependent, is in a nursing home and you pay out of pocket, it's not covered by Medicare, Medicaid, insurance of any, you write a check out to the nursing home. There is a special assessment, and if you need the detailed bills with that amount, and you can get a credit, and that is a significant amount.
That's a state credit, right?
That is a New York State credit, IT-258.
There's still a $20,000 exemption or something, isn't there, in New York State tax?
For your pension. Is that what you mean?
No, I think you have to make over $20,000 before you have to pay New York State tax. Isn't that what it is?
Oh, I'm not sure exactly what that number is.
Well, it's something like that anyway.
But anyhow, this claim, and this is a refundable credit also.
They give you money, whether or not you owe. Okay.
Even if you don't owe taxes, you can get that back, and that can be a significant amount. And if you've missed that, then you can go back and get it.
We're out of here.
Okay.
They're throwing us off the air.
They are.
Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds just to finish up and say goodbye, whatever.
Okay.
Your time is up now.
Thank you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here with you, and I hope that people are, don't be afraid to resolve income tax issues. I've got my office.
Okay, Molly is right on Main Street in Westfield. If you want to get in touch with her, next to the Republican, Silk Purse Tax, Income Tax, give them a phone number if they have any questions to follow up.
716-581-3220.
There you go.
That's
Molly Catalano, who is a registered tax preparer. Okay, thank you very much, Molly. I appreciate your time, and you did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
I want to thank, sorry, caller, we got 2 more callers, and we can't get them in. Big deal. They can just go over and ask you personally. They got your phone number.
Sure.
I want to thank all those people who are out there, especially the ones that called in. I want to thank Chuck Kelsey, Devin Taylor, Chris Burt, Chris Ramaker, Mort Flexer, Randy Bird, Jeff Zook, Don Zenz, and the whole world out there. Get ready for Christmas. Get the trees up, the Hanukkah bush, whatever it might be you're doing. And may all that is proud and true and noble abide with you. I am Reed Powers.